everybody, and welcome to day 10, week 2 of our yoga challenge. Hope everyone's feeling well and rested and relaxed. Let's get started in child's position with our big toes together at the back of our mat and our hips out wide. Find a little bit of movement here as you walk your hands out in front of you, bringing your forehead to the mat. Come into stillness in this pose, leaving everything from the day, from the week, from yesterday behind, just forgetting about them for the next 20 minutes as we relax and open our hips and chest. With an inhale, walk your hands off to the right side of your mat, placing your left hand on top of your right, making sure that you are bending from your waist and not your hips, so your hips will still be square to the front of your mat, and you want to bend out of your waist, finding a nice stretch on the left side of the body. Come through the center of your mat, bringing your hands out to the left side of your mat, placing your right hand over your left hand, making sure to bend from your waist and not your hips, leaving your hips square to the front of the mat. Come through the center of your mat, coming up into tabletop, making sure that your hips are stacked over your knees and your shoulders are stacked over your wrists. We're going to inhale, arching our spine towards the ceiling. Exhale, lowering our bellies towards the mat. Inhale, arching your spine. Exhale, lowering your spine. Inhale, arching your spine. Exhale, lowering your spine. Do a few more of these at your own pace, moving slowly in between each posture. Come into neutral spine and begin to roll your hips in circles, moving in one direction, making sure to breathe here. On your next exhale, reverse the circles that you were doing and go the opposite direction. Come into a neutral spine. We're going to inhale our right hand out in front of us and our left foot out behind us, flexing our toes down towards the mat. On an inhale, we're going to bring our knee to our elbow, and on an exhale, we're going to extend them back out. Inhale, knee to elbow. Exhale, extend out. Inhale, knee to elbow. Exhale, extend out. Bring both of your hands and your knees back to your mat. On an inhale, we're going to lift our left hand out and our right foot out, flexing our toes back towards the floor. And set up here, make sure you're not dumping into your shoulder. We're going to inhale, elbow to knee, exhale, extend out. Inhale, elbow to knee, exhale, extend out. One more time, inhale, elbow to knee, exhale, extend out. Bring your hand and your feet back down to the mat. Curl your toes and lift your knees a few inches off of the mat, really firing up your core. Press into down dog. Our first down dog of the day. Feel free to walk it out here. Find any movement that you need in this pose. Come into a little bit of stillness. Take a deep inhale in. And sigh out of your mouth. Take a deep inhale in. And sigh out of your mouth. Take one more deep inhale in. And sigh out of your mouth. On your next inhale, you're going to step or hop to the top of the mat. Coming into halfway lift. Exhale for forward fold. And inhale your hands over your head. Coming into a slight back bend here. Bring your hands to cactus arms. And twist from your waist, twist your torso from your waist to the right side of your mat, right corner of your mat, for a gentle spine twist here. Take a few deep breaths. Making sure to keep your hips square to the front of the mat. Come back to neutral and twist to the right, or to the left. Coming into a gentle spinal twist. Come back towards neutral. Extend your hands overhead, finding a slight back bend and swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and step into high plank. You can rock back and forth here and find a little bit of movement. Find that helps to fire up the core and the shoulders a little bit. Come into stillness and lower down through your chaturanga. Inhale for up dog. Exhale for down dog. We'll take 3 deep breaths here. Keep a slight bend in your knee and a slight bend in your elbows. If your heels don't touch all the way to the mat, that's totally okay. On your next inhale, hop or step to the top of the mat, coming into halfway lift. Exhale for forward fold. Inhale, your arms overhead, finding a slight back bend at the top. Bring your hands through heart center and set up your mountain pose with your palms facing forward. On an inhale, sweep your hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, coming into your high plank. Flow through your chaturanga. Inhale for up dog. Exhale for down dog. Take 2 deep breaths here. And hop or step to the top of your mat. Coming into halfway lift. Exhale for forward fold. Inhale your hands overhead, finding a slight back bend at the top. Bring your hands to heart center. Flow through this last sun salutation A at your own pace. Meeting in down dog. Once we've met in down dog, inhale your right leg up towards the ceiling for the 3-legged down dog. Drop your heel towards the back of your mat, bringing it close to your sits bones. Lifting your hip up and opening it up for a nice stretch here, making sure that your shoulders are square towards the mat And to help facilitate the squaring of the shoulders, you can look under your left elbow or your left armpit, and that will help bring your right armpit and shoulder down closer towards the mat. Make sure to flex your toes back, preventing injury in the knee. Straighten your left or your right leg out and bring it back towards the mat. Inhaling your left leg towards the ceiling for three-legged down dog. Drop your heel towards your sits bones, opening up your hip, and you can also look under your right armpit here to help facilitate bringing the shoulders square to the mat. Straighten your leg out and bring it back down to the mat. Find a few more breaths in down dog here. And step or hop to the front of the mat. I'm going to tap my leg. Forward fold. Sweeping your hands overhead, coming into a slight back bend. Bring your hands to heart center. Now you want to come back from the top of your mat, not all the way to the center, but just, a third of the way back. We're going to come into tree pose. So we're going to shift our weight into our left foot. We're going to bring our right foot next to our ankle as a kickstand. We're going to bring it up, placing it into our groin. We never want to put it on our knee. That's a joint and it will move. So if we push our knee there, there's a very good possibility that we could hurt ourselves and ruin our knees. So let's avoid the knee area. Coming into tree pose, that's easiest for you. Bring your hands to heart center. And you can stay here if you'd like, making sure to set up your balance. Once you feel like you have your balance, feel free to grow your trees, your tree branches. If you really like to work on your balance, you can keep your gaze towards the front of your mat or in front of you, or you can lift it towards the ceiling. Come out of tree pose on the left and come into it on the right. Bringing your foot to a kickstand or your inner groin. Bring your hands to heart center. And if you feel wind coming into your tree and you have to fall out, that's okay. Just come right back in. You can grow your branches if you'd like. And you can also challenge your balance by bringing your gaze towards the ceiling. Bring your left foot down to meet your right. And you want to stand facing the front of your mat, not the side of it anymore. We're going to pick up our right leg, shifting our weight into our left. And we're going to shoot our leg out behind us for warrior 3. We can come into airplane hands. We can bring our hands up towards our knees, or we can just leave them at heart center. On your next inhale, we're going to bend into our standing leg, and we're going to place our right leg down on the ground, coming into crescent lunge. Set your lunge up here, making sure that your knee doesn't come over your ankles or your toes. Sweep your hands overhead, setting up your balance and settle into the pose. Making sure your hips are square towards the front of the mat. You want to be high on the ball of your foot. We're going to take our left hand and we're going to sweep it around behind us, coming into a twist into our crescent lunge. We'll be here for a few breaths. Turn your gaze towards the front of your mat and sweep your hand back up above your head. Bring your hands down to heart center. And we're going to launch on that back foot, coming back into our standing leg, into warrior three. Bring your foot down to meet your planted foot. We're going to do that on the other side. So shift your weight into your right foot. Bring your left foot, your left thigh parallel to the mat. Tip forward, shooting your left foot out behind you, flexing your toes back towards the ceiling or back towards the ground. You can bring your hands out to airplane wings. You can have them up alongside your ears. You can keep them at heart center. On an inhale, we're going to bend into our standing leg and plant our back foot on the mat, coming into crescent lunge. Set up your crescent lunge, making sure your knee doesn't come over your ankles, and sweep your hands overhead. We'll be here for a few breaths. If this balance is a little bit hard, feel free to widen your stance a little bit, making sure that your hips are square towards the mat. On an inhale, we're going to sweep our right hand behind us, coming into a twist on the right side. Making sure that you're pressing hard out of your back foot. Be here for a few breaths. Sweep your hand back up in overhead. Bring your hands down through heart center. Launch into that standing leg, coming into warrior three. For one more breath, and then bring your foot down to meet your other foot. You can wiggle it out. That's a lot. It's a lot on our feet. Those kinds of flows always burn my calves. I don't know why they're not bigger. I don't know. So we're gonna come into extended hand to toe. We're not bringing our heads to our knees. So we're gonna shift our weight into our left foot, coming back into our balance here, bringing our right thigh parallel to the mat. If you have it in your practice, you can take your two-piece fingers, wrap it around your big toe, and extend your foot out in front of you, making sure that you have a long spine. You can put your left hand on your hip. It'll help keep you balanced. You can keep a slight bend in your right or in your left foot as well. That'll help balance you out a little bit. If you can't do that, that's fine. Just place your hand on your knee. We'll be here for a few breaths. On our next inhale, if you fall out, come back in, obviously. We're going to take our left foot or our left hand, and we're going to either wrap it around our knee, or we're going to wrap it around the outside edge of our right foot, coming in to a twist. Take whatever variation is easiest for you. Sweep your right hand out behind you, coming into a twist. And keep a bend in your leg for balance. And fixate your gaze on one thing. In yoga, they call it your drishti. And it's where your focus goes so that you can inwardly focus on balancing. Sweep your hand back towards the front of your mat, bringing your chest towards the front of your mat, lowering your leg. We're going to come into the same pose on the left side, so shift your weight into your right foot, bringing your left leg parallel to the mat. If you have it in your practice, grab your two-piece fingers with your toe and extend your leg out in front of you. If not, no worries, just grab your knee. I'll be here for a few breaths. On an inhale, take your right hand around the left side of your foot and bring your left hand out behind you for a twist. If you fall out, come back in. Balance poses are hard. You can brace your core for a little bit extra stability in your torso. If you feel the wind coming through. You want to keep a long spine. Bring your torso around to the front. Dropping your right leg, or your left leg to meet your right leg. You can wiggle it out a little bit. Bend your toes, kind of get a stretch in the front part of your shin. And we will come down to seated. Bring your legs out in front of you. You can get the fleshy part of your bum, scoop it up a little bit so that you can rock forward a little bit. Inhale your hands overhead and forward fold. You can go as far as you'd like. Each day is going to be different. Our bodies are not the same every day. Our muscles don't feel the same every day either. With every inhale, think about elongating your spine, and every exhale, try to bend just a little bit deeper, even if it's a micro bend. On an inhale, come back up. Come into butterfly pose, bringing the soles of your feet together and your knees out wide in front of you. You want to grab your toes and kind of open them up like you're reading a book, and you want to press your elbows into your legs, helping them open up just a little bit more. Keep your spine long, and on an exhale, fold forward. Come up. Extend your feet out in front of you. Bring your hands to parallel and slowly lower down. Coming into corpse pose. Let everything go here. Ignore the needy cat trying to get into your room. Ignore the to-do list. I want you to imagine that you're on top of a mountain in your mind, and the clouds are clearing and you're just looking into the deep, deep blue sky. Your thoughts might drift here, and that's fine, but when you notice it, just bring your attention and awareness back to the deep, deep blue of the sky on top of the mountain. Your breathing doesn't need to be any sort of way here either. It can be natural and relaxed. Wiggle your toes and your fingers, bringing some awareness back into your body. Roll over on your right side, bringing your legs up towards your chest. Put your hand on the ground and come into sitting. Bring your hands to heart center and bow your chin. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.